3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to the Bennetts Life podcast. This is episode 14 and we're going to be talking about spoiled kids, or what we think a spoiled kid is and what we're trying to not do with our child so that he doesn't turn out being spoiled, right?
Yes. So our kid is 2, and so he just had his birthday's in October, so he just had his second birthday, and also he had and also with Christmas coming up. So that's kind of how we got onto this topic. So initially when we had Bohdi, we were talking about I guess when it came closer to his first birthday, Chris was like, well, why are we throwing him a birthday party? He's 1, he's not going to know any different. And which I think is true. He's 1-year-olds aren't into opening presents yet, So I think getting excessive presents for babies is kind of ridiculous. But that's not to say we didn't get him things, but it's more things that we needed for him. We got him he got clothes, he got some toys and some books, but it wasn't he was stuff. Excited about opening them. So then, and with the party, it was more for family and friends to come over and see him, not for him, because he was I want to have a party, And then for his second birthday, I think it was a little more we threw the party just for him. Same thing, because we wanted to celebrate him being 2 with our friends and family, not so much so he could get presents, really. It was more of just spending time with family. So, but I think he did get some presents. I can't remember. He got a bike. He got a lot of sports stuff.
Yeah, which he uses. There's no debate in that he doesn't use them. Anything that is a ball or moves, or he can throw it, or he can run it, or whatever, he will use it. There's no doubt.
We didn't just get him toys just to be getting him toys.
I don't think he actually got a toy.
Yeah.
He didn't get an action figure, or he maybe got a car. He got cars off your aunt, the trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And he likes cars, so they were the only
And he didn't
toys.
have any cars before, so... But he got golf clubs, he got a hockey goal, he got a bike,
soccer cleats,
bat and
tee.
Yeah, baseball tee, which he didn't have anything baseball before, so.
And a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Baseball.
So I guess he did get a lot of stuff, but it's all stuff that he uses, and that's more those aren't toys, those are for activities. That's how I would justify it, It's not I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that he got these things. It just does make us sometimes wonder. I feel as though I always have this internal conversation with myself in regards to it. The other day, I took Bohdi to the store, and Casey can vouch for this. Every time we go to the store, he's immediately looking for the ball. All right, he tries to hunt the balls out in the store. He's always ball, and he goes to the aisle that's got all the balls, and he always wants one. All right. And there's a part of me inside that's oh yeah, he really wants that. That's cool. Maybe I should get him that, But that's the part where I've got to ignore the majority of the time, because then I'm I'm not exaggerating here. He must have 20 balls.
Yeah, and we're opposite, so we kind of balance each other out, because I would probably get it for him every time if it's not something that he already has, because it's he has. It was this one example that Chris is talking about. There was a football that he doesn't have at home. He has a hard football. He has a little football. And then...
he has 2 hard footballs, an inflatable little
one
football.
Hard football.
No, he's got the green one now too.
Oh, that's little. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, and then the black one?
Yeah, so he has the big black one. He has a little green hard one. And then he has a little light soft one. So this one was a Nerf one, a full size, which I think is good for him. But then was a Nerf. So he could throw it around in the house, whereas his other one, he can't throw around the house. So I was that's how I justify oh, well, this would be good because he doesn't have this one, because he already has 3 footballs. But I'm this one's different, So yeah, that's how me and Chris differ.
Well, I just think...
But I am in agreement. He has a million balls. And so yes, does he need another one? Probably not. But does he play with all the ones that he has? He does.
And there's a part of me that also wants to get him them, but then I've got to think in my head, you go look in the living room, which is right there, and all over the floor, you'll find a bazillion different sports things. He's got all of his stuff in there. And I think sometimes with him as well, when he has so many options, he doesn't spend enough time on one.
Yeah.
He'll play with his bat and tee, with his baseball for 2 minutes, and then he's onto the basketball shooting that. Then he's onto the soccer ball kicking it in his goal because that's in there. Then he's onto his tennis ball throwing it. He never really I know he's enjoying himself, but I guess he takes it for granted that he's got all of these balls. He never actually spends any. It's not And he's 2. I get it. He's not like a little, and he's not bad with it, you know. But it's not like, oh, we're gonna play basketball, and that's all we play because that's all he can see, you know. Once he gets bored, he's gonna pick his football up, or he's gonna da 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 da. And sometimes I'm like, I don't like the fact that he has all of these balls and he plays with them all at once. I'd much prefer it if he started playing with one and really enjoyed the one, and when he got bored of it, then switch it out, rather than just because he sees it. He's like it's a distraction, like squirrel, nah, new ball, and he doesn't buy these things for himself, you know, so he can't help that.
Right.
We've done that, you know.
Yeah, and then so with Christmas coming up, like we hadn't planned on getting him really any presents. Just because he has a lot of things, and we are more like we get him things throughout the year, like as he needs them, or you know, as we like see them. So it's not like he doesn't get anything throughout the year and then we're gonna get him this thing. The cat's like playing with something. So but I remember before when we were pregnant and we talked about, like, I think it was the same conversation, kind of like spoiling our kids. We were like, well, we want to do like the 3 or like the 4 present rule, which is like something to wear, something to read, something you want, and something you need.
And we've never done it.
And so we would get like 4 presents. But I think he's not to the age yet. Like that, I think that's more like when they're older and they like want a bunch of presents. Like we instill this, like if we like put this as like our family thing, like you get 4 presents. Something to wear, something to read, something you want, and something you need. So
I think that's a great idea. And I'm not trying to be like an asshole, because I know, and I'm very grateful for it, when I was young at Christmas, like my parents would set the room out, like this chair full of presents is for me, this chair's for Steph, this chair's for Will, like my brothers and sisters. And there wasn't 4 presents, there was like 40 presents, not 40, I'm exaggerating, but there was a lot. And then I can only imagine now how much that would have put my parents out.
Yeah, it's a ton of money.
And I'm like, Jesus. And they did it for us.
My parents were the same way. We both had a chair that was just like filled. I mean, it was just the 2 of us. So like, but still, that's like so much money. I can't. And then like, how much stuff are you really like playing with or using, you know,
and that's
for
where
the
I
rest
think,
of the year?
And that's where I think your rule comes in great. Like the 4 presents, like then they'll appreciate it. The part that bothers me as I've got older, not when I was a kid, obviously, I used to love it. I was like, yeah, presents, always. But like, I see these posts on Instagram, it's definitely recently as Christmas coming closer, on Facebook, and it's like, oh, just mountains of presents. Yeah. And then like, it's meant to be, it's like bragging. And I'm like, if anything, you're teaching your kid to be materialistic.
Right. That's what I think it is too.
And they don't know the value of what you're giving them because you're giving them so much, and they just expect that every Christmas. What about if one Christmas, all of a sudden, no money, and they get no presents? They're going to be like, oh, and then they're going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
And
sorry, but I think the 4 present rule is good for parents as well. Like it keeps you from like going overboard, because it's so easy like to just want to spend money on your kid, you know?
Well,
and like that's easy for me. Like I much more nowadays would like want to get something for Bohdi than want to get something for myself.
Absolutely.
But I think the 4 present rule like keeps us like more like in check.
Yeah, it gives us rules.
Yeah.
I much more want to buy Bohdi things than new things now as well. So, but I just mean, as a kid, I would never have had this perspective. Now that we have a kid, I most certainly do. And I think this is a materialistic side. And the more that we grow and decide the way we want to live, I think the less and less we're getting away from material items. You know, I think that's just part and parcel of who we are. So he's going to have a slight different upbringing than we.
Some of us are less materialistic.
I'm definitely less materialistic than Casey, and I'm trying to, I guess, force her to live like this a little bit. Sometimes I make good points though. Sometimes it's okay. Mm-hmm. When I try to get it to get rid of the 14 pairs of shoes that she never wears, she's not down for that.
I think purging and getting rid of old stuff, because I know I hang on to a lot of stuff, but I'm on about like he never wants to get anything like new.
Well,
and
put it this way:
I need new things. I need like new clothes sometimes. He's like, well, let's just go to Goodwill. I'm like, I can't shop at Goodwill.
No, you can't, but I can. I needed a new pair of jeans, so I literally went to Goodwill and spent $5 on jeans.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, does not work for my size.
But anyway, to extend the conversation past the materialistic side in regards to having a spoiled kid, I think there's other things within Bohdi's life currently that I think he might be spoiled. I don't think he's a brat, because I don't think he realizes he's spoiled, and I don't think he uses it yet. I don't think he's aware of what he gets.
I think it just happens when you're the only child this far, and he lives in a house with adults who he's the baby still, and everybody just caters to him, you know.
And I'm not saying he's bad for it, because I think he's not aware of it. You know, I don't think he just thinks it's the norm.
Right.
My thing I'm starting to get towards is when we have the second child and he doesn't receive all of this, that's not going to be a fun transition for him. And it's already going to be a difficult transition if we have when we have a second kid, you know. And he doesn't get all the attention anymore. He doesn't get picked up all the time when he wants to. And like some clear differences in regards to what I think and others. If Bodhi's walking around the store with me and I have not decided to put him in the stroller, like the trolley, he walks, all right, and I don't pick him up. Unless like he falls or hurts himself, I don't pick him up. And not just you, but other members of the family, he'll go like this, up. Immediately he's up, you know. And Casey's getting a lot better though. Now she's like, now you tell him to stay down, you know. Sometimes, but a lot of the time
he does not.
Well,
listen.
he's very persistent with you, which he was like that with me. And I'm only saying this because I get to be with him throughout the day while Casey works, and he was with me all the time, up.
Like he'll literally stand in front of me and then like won't let me walk, or like he'll grab onto my leg. So if I just like keep walking away from him, he'll just run, and then he'll stand in front of me and then he'll grab my leg.
And that's the part where I think he's starting to realize. He used to do that with me. He got told, no, you can't do that, Bohdi. I would distract him with something else, like give him something in his hands to look at, so I didn't have to pick him up. But I didn't want to pick him up anymore because I just wanted to practice walking. Especially like last year when you're at school, I'd make him walk around the store, just even when he couldn't walk very well, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so I've had a little bit more time, obviously, to do this, and I distract him to it, but he's now recognizing that difference, you know. He knows when he comes to dad, he's not getting picked up, or he knows when he comes to dad, not always, but when he comes to dad, it's going to be harder to get what he wants, I think. And I think he's slowly starting to realize that, because the minute I say no, he trots over to you, or he trots over to his granddad, and whatever he wants, not saying it's bad, but like he gets most of the time, you know. Like if I'm not picking him up, he'll go to Casey, and Casey will pick him up, so he's still got what he wanted, you know.
Yeah.
And now I think that's not necessarily the materialistic side where I think he's starting to recognize. He's definitely starting to recognize the two differences. And Casey can pick him up for as much as she wants, as long as he's aware that it's Casey that's going to pick him up, not me.
Yeah.
Know? And that's just one example. There's multiple in his life now where, like, and I'm the flip side. Sometimes Casey says no. Like, Casey does not like to roughhouse with him. Like, doesn't like to I fun fight with Bohdi all the time. And Casey does not like it. I absolutely understand that. And I love doing it, you know?
And he knows that I won't do it with him.
So then he comes to me, puts his hands up, wants to fun fight.
Be right back.
Yeah. And then, and so he knows the difference between the two of us. But it's just I think he might be spoilt in the fact that a lot of things, there's no question, he just gets what he wants. He gets he gets his version of it or immediately. It's not like certain instances we don't make him work for it, you know. Certain instances he'll say something and he gets it. And if it's like food and stuff like that, of course we give him it. But if, for example, we're trying to go out and we're trying to get him in the car and he does not want to get in the car, a lot of the times we'll delay getting in the car to a better time for him when we might have needed to leave at that point, and we've just made ourselves late, or we've had to change our plans because of it, or X, Y, and Z, you know, like things like that. I'm starting to notice more and more, and the fact that he's starting to recognize more and more who he can do what with, I think accompanies that.
He's shouting at me.
At you? All right. He's shouting in the back. He's watching Trolls, so he's shouting of his mom. That's why she's left for a little bit. But that's more that bothers me than the materialistic, because I don't really buy him a lot as much as I want to. Like, I want to get him all the balls, but I've kind of made a rule for myself. Like, if he's already got the same or similar, I'm not going to do it unless it's broke. So that's kind of how I coach myself through it. But it's the day-to-day live activities. I want to make him either have to work for it a little bit more, so it's not always just, so he doesn't just presume that he gets it regardless, or I want him to start realizing that sometimes he's not going to get his own way. And the reason being, he's only 2 right now, and he's slowly starting to realize things, but I don't want him to get to 5 or 6-year-old, and when he doesn't get his own way, all hell breaks loose. He becomes one of these horrible little kids that other people think that he's a brat. And I don't really care what other people think, but just say what happens when we're 5 or 6 and we're in a restaurant, and he wants chocolate cake, and we're like, well, eat this first, and he doesn't want to eat it, and he throws the food across the table, or screams, starts throwing things, like kicking off, and I don't ever want to have to be in that position or situation with him, and I think it starts now. I don't think it waits until he gets a little bit older. I'm just saying, like, the materialistic side, not too concerned about, because it's very rare, like birthdays and Christmas, it's not a day-to-day.
Right,
it's the
right.
day-to-day things where we give him it immediately for the most part. I'm saying when he gets to 5, my issue isn't right now because I don't think he realizes enough. He's slowly, but not all. When he gets to 5 or 6, if we've continued with this way, the example I made is we're out in a restaurant. He wants the chocolate cake, but we want to meet the sandwich first. We give him the sandwich. He flips the sandwich, throws it across the table, tells us to go.
And that's the thing, like that same, like it's more the day-to-day behaviors that I'm concerned about than like the once a year sort of things. Like when I tell him no, and then he starts like doing this in my face, you know, or like I tell him no, and then he throws something.
So it's already started.
Like that's the sort of stuff, and that's what my dad was like. Those are like the behaviors that you have to stop now before he gets to 3, 4, 5, you know.
Yeah. I've found myself, especially let's say the last 3 months, because he definitely has been testing himself the last 3 months throughout the day. Like I found myself in the last 3 months disciplining him more than I've ever done in his whole life, and he's just turned 2. So 3 months versus year and a half plus, I've put him in timeout more. I've got down on his level and spoke to him. I've shouted at him more, you know, like not that I really want to shout at him at all, but I just feel as though right now he's testing that line. He's like, what can I do? What can't I do? And I'm like, if we don't
we got to break him down.
If we don't put him in check right now, we're going to have that 5, 6-year-old that's a little beep
bad.
And I don't want to be that person in public where my kid is always like, I don't want to take my kid out anywhere because I can't trust him to behave, you know. He's not very well
get that home
he's not very well house trained, you know. I learned that quote from this family, you know. Home trained, sorry. But yeah, and that's the part that bothers me. Not the materialistic, because I think at any given point we can just stop buying him things if he has enough, you know. Yeah. But it's the
got to get that home training in.
It's the I want this now every day.
Where he has to have good behavior
and he gets it. Yeah. You know? Because can you imagine just being anywhere like
it'd be so embarrassing.
In a restaurant and he threw like his food at you? Like
it'd be so embarrassing.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, it never happens. I mean, it will happen. He's a kid. He's going to be tired. He's going to be hungry at some point, and hopefully, it's not related to him being spoiled or not.
And a little outburst is fine, but like when it goes on, like if he was like a little thing, and then we talk to him and he chills out, like I don't mind that. But it's like if he was like to have a full blown like meltdown where he couldn't like recover from that. So.
Well, just look at what he's doing now. He doesn't say I want this, but basically he's saying I want to do this or I want this. You say no to him, and like Casey just said, he'll like try and like just does this on your face because he's not very happy, or he'll start going no, and I'm like, oh God, like this is.
Well, he'll flail back and throw himself on the floor.
That's his go-to. Like he flails back, lies on the floor, and won't get up. And I'm like, I lost count of how many times I've had to drag him out the store now. You know, like put him over my shoulder, and not to say that we're doing anything wrong. I just think we need to start upping what we're doing right. You know, like if the level of discipline is not matching what he's given us, and I'm not necessarily looking at it in that moment. If he's kicking off in that moment, it's going to be over soon.
I think it's going to be, we need to start having like more conversations. Like he goes in timeout, we have a conversation, but like stopping the behavior immediately.
But he's still 2, and I think sometimes like he understands a lot, but how much is he really going to understand in that conversation? You know, it's so But
still, like he can tell we're upset, and then he has to have like a consequence. And they said that the timeout should be for however old they are. So
2-minute timeout.
Yeah. And not to say that he's going to stand there for 2 minutes. Like we're going to have to be with him for that 2 minutes. But sorry, because the kid's calling me, so I'm going to have to wrap this up.
All right.
And I didn't want to just leave you for the end on your own.
But yeah, hopefully we'll get better at this. And I think, unfortunately, it's going to involve a little bit more discipline. And he's going to have to come a little bit more around to our ways rather than us around to him. And so, yeah, he's not terrible twos yet, and let's hope we don't get him into the terrible 2s, but he definitely is a lot harder work now.
No, we're fighting against the terrible 2s right now.
Yeah, we're trying to hold back that wave, but it's going to crash at some point, and he's going to have to feel the wrath. All right, guys, thank you for watching today. If you're listening to this on Podbean, make sure you subscribe to our podcast list. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We put podcasts up every Wednesday. And
we have a new little venture coming out, and that is, can I tell them the name?
Of? Maybe you'll hear about it on the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. We're like in the idea phase of it, and we don't really have a plan yet.
So it hasn't been executed yet, so we'll stay tuned to see.
Which tune in for the next podcast, because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, executing a plan.
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Ciao.